So, welcome to today's surgery session, all about hooks. And as I was saying, I think that learning about hooks, learning how to write hooks, it's a skill that will serve you really well in whatever you do, really. I think it's one of those, it's a little bit like copywriting. It's such a central skill to learn. And also, I think what's really useful is learning the kind of mechanics behind why hooks work and how they work. I'm talking about the psychology behind it as well. Because you can use hooks. You can use hooks obviously in emails, obviously in what I do a lot, which is videos. You need to keep hooking people, obviously, to get people's attention in the first place. And then you need to, it's all about making sure you get the attention in the first place. And then once you've got the attention, how do you keep people's attention? So you need to rehook people. So that's, and as I say, that is a skill. No one's answering my question about do you know what hooks are? Let me know in the chat. And what might you use hooks for in your line of work? I'm giving you massive hints. I've already said email subject lines, huge hook. Equally, Lynn is absolutely right. Fantastic, Catherine. Catchy, intriguing, enticing headline. That's exactly right. It is about stimulating curiosity. Hugh saying, grab the potential purchaser's attention immediately. Absolutely. It's also about opening a loop in people's minds as well. So they feel compelled to carry on watching or reading or whatever it is they're doing. It's an opening statement, it is. But it's, Diane, it's much more of it is an opening statement, but it can be a cliffhanger. Just think in terms, what I always say to clients is model things that are already out there. So a hook, one of the main kind of places that we'll see hooks all the time will be headlines of newspapers or headlines in magazines. So the next time you're in a newsagent or you're even online, right? I think it's really useful just to switch your radar on and just be aware, like if you click on something on socials, why is it you've clicked on it? Because I bet you a lot of the time it'll either be a visual hook, i.e., if it's something to do with video, there might be something that's been a pattern interrupt, i.e., something that's caught your attention. There's something odd here, and your brain's going, "Hang on a second, I need to know more about this." So there's a number of different hooks, and we'll go through the different types of hooks as we go through. But yeah, as I say, make sure you're switching your radars on because it's one of those things. The more you are aware of the existence of hooks, the more you can then be receptive and go, oh, that's interesting. I was really attracted to this particular post, or I clicked on that ad, and there was something in the hook that resonated with you. And what I would suggest you do is keep a little kind of folder of. I'm really sad because I'm a marketing geek. If there's anything I get sent, like an email, or I see a particularly good landing page or a headline or something, and I think, bloody hell, I love the way they've done that. I will cut and paste it or I'll bookmark it because then what you can do is when you need to do your own version of an email subject line, or you need to create a landing page, or you need to really get a script that's going to hook viewers like instantly. You've then got a bank that you can go to. And of course, with our wonderful AI tools now, you can give them loads of context and say, I really like this kind of hook structure. Can you help me create my own one? And this is what I want to do. What I'd like you to do actually, folks, is because I want to make this like a live demo with actual real businesses and real things that you've got going on in your business lives. Can you put in the chat? What I'd love you to do is, are any of you doing email newsletters or writing emails, or do any of you need to do a landing page, or do any of you need to create a script for a video? Let me know in the chat, because what I'd like to do is to do a live demo with one of you guys. Okay, so Kevin's already said emails and landing pages. Great. Okay, Kevin, what do you need? Let's do the emails. What are the emails for? Who are they going to? So what is the audience? What is the problem you're solving? See, now this is it, getting into the nitty gritty. What's the problem you're solving? And also, what do you want the outcome of the email to be? So what's the call to action going to be off the back of the email? Is it go to this website? Is it jump on a phone call? What is it? What do you want the outcome of that to be? Because whether it's crafting emails, building landing pages, writing a script for a video, whatever it is, you need to be intentional when you go into it. And you need to understand what it is you're asking people to do, what you want the result of it to be. But also, you need to be very clear on the audience, who you're helping, and how you're helping them. And all of that context will help. We're going to use some AI, obviously, to create some varieties of hooks. And then we can tweak them. And that's the beauty. And this is what I always say to people whenever using AI, whether it's for this kind of stuff, writing things, or whether it's generating video, whatever it is, don't just accept the first sort of thing that the AI dishes up as the final kind of thing. The power of AI is when you enter into a conversation with it. Okay, let's go through. So the thing that happens a lot is that it's a bit like when you're making videos. The most important thing when you're making a video, in terms of for YouTube, I'm talking about, is when you're coming up with the topic idea, you need to be thinking that point about the thumbnail, right? Because it's the shop window for your video. Now, we're not talking about YouTube today, but I use it as an illustration for the fact that a lot of the time people write an email and then go, what should the subject line be? That's the wrong way around. You need to come up with a hook first and the topic at the same time and the outcome that you want. And it all needs to be generated at the same time rather than as an afterthought. Because otherwise what will happen is you'll be compromising the hook because you'll have written the content already and you're trying to shoehorn something into something when actually, if you'd done it the other way around, it would have been more effective. So start with the hook. And again, when you're creating this stuff with AI as a helper, as a co-pilot, as a co-writer, as a co-creator, it is about having that conversation. Because ultimately, like it says there, it doesn't matter how great the content of the email is. It doesn't matter how fantastic the content of the video is. If you've not hooked the people in, first of all, they're never going to get to see how good the content is because they're not going to have paid attention. They'd have scrolled on. So that is why the hook is so critical in all of these applications. So, for example, let's have a look at some email subject lines here. A very pedestrian and dull one, if you've got a newsletter, is our latest newsletter is here. That's a big old yawn fest. If that comes in, imagine people have tens, probably, maybe hundreds in some cases of emails per day. You need to make sure that you are grabbing the attention of the reader and getting. So the first hook, the subject line hook, gets them to actually read the first kind of couple of lines of the email. And then the way you structure the email, again, this isn't about structuring emails, but and it's the same for LinkedIn posts and social posts. The job of the first kind of the subject line is to get people to click into the email. And then what you need to do is the first sentence earns the viewer's attention for the second sentence to the third sentence. And then we go forward and then you give some value straight away. You get to the fun, you get to the value as soon as you possibly can. So that, but the point is, it's not just amazing subject line and then whatever you want after that. You are reeling people in, okay, throughout that first section of the email. And the exact same thing is true when you're writing scripts for YouTube, for any videos, whether they go on YouTube or not. You need to demonstrate very quickly the hook is to get the attention. We've got a couple of people saying I've thousands, never read any unless the subject is captivating or sounds like it's personal to me. Hey, did you still need? Absolutely. Aaron, you're right on the money there. And that it's all about specificity. Okay. And again, this is why, and I'm like a broken record when it comes to this, if you've ever seen me before, it is why it is so important to really understand your customers better than they understand themselves. I know that sounds trite, but it's absolutely true. Like that's why you need to have really well developed customer avatars and you need to be understanding what's driving them. You need to be understanding the pain points they've got and how the pain points make them feel. So it's not just enough to say, oh, they're a bit fed up about this. You've got to go in on the emotional level. It's got to be psychographic is what it's called. You need to go because people will buy with their emotions and then they justify with logic afterwards. So it's not about, oh, buy this thing because it's got amazing features. It's buy this thing because it will make you better, or buy this thing because it means that it solves this issue, which will make you feel better about something or other. That's what we need to be doing. Like I say, so it's not about just the surface kind of thing that it does. it's about something deeper than that. So if we go back to the slide there, our latest newsletter is here. So one line missing from your booking page, that's opening a loop. I'm going, what? What one line is missing from my booking page? I need to know more. Click, and then I'm hooked already. Because that what that's done is it's opened a loop in my brain, and my brain's saying to me, and this is because we're wired like it, we cannot stand open loops. Our mind just wants it resolved. So we feel compelled to then read on. So a landing page headline: professional services for growing businesses. Okay, but that seems really vague. Are you brilliant at what you do, but are you invisible online? Oh yeah, actually I am. And being invisible online is a pain point. I would add to that and go into the whole kind of how does that make them feel? Are you frustrated because you are brilliant at what you do, but invisible online? Yes, I am. I feel really irritated when I see all these people who aren't as good as I am at what I do, and yet they're the ones getting all the bookings because they're the ones with the YouTube channel, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So that's suddenly speaking to a specific problem and a specific feeling. Barry said, need to create an email campaign to solve the problem that there are not enough coach, counsellors and therapists to cope with the volume of people who are seeking support for mental health issues. Personalhq.co.uk has been created to provide the solution and plug that gap. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. I don't want to get too distracted because I know what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at your website and then I'm going to start probably going, oh, what about this headline? But anyway, I'm going to do it in a personal HQ. What I would say straight away is hq.co.uk to me sounds quite corporate. So it's not Barry, and this is not take this in the way it's meant. This is supposed to be very constructive, etc. I'm a fan of URLs that tell you what you're going to get, or at least hinted it. I know. Oh, Hughes was saying about that. I would put, are you invisible online first? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You've got to, whatever you do, you've got to name the pain. Let's just have a look. Personal HQ.co. Because if I was being naughty, I'd say hq.co.uk sounds like it might be something to do with property. I am going to do a little bit of, hopefully, please take this in the right way. So I don't want you to feel like I'm picking on you, Barry, all right? But this is actually quite useful. Okay, so now I don't know. Because Barry, you've just told me that the URL. Okay, so I land on this page and you say PHQ. What even is that? Okay, there's no, and this again, this might be slightly immodest, but I want to know instantly: is this page for me? So what I'm expecting is something like this here: video implementation coaching for coaches and consultants. Stop waiting to feel ready. Let's blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's very specific. It's one of my things that I do, my coaching things. But the point is that you need to be spelling out very quickly who you're helping. Okay, now, okay, so this is very specifically video implementation coaching for coaches and consultants. Guess what? I've got one for all of my groups that I serve. So coaches and consultants I serve. I also serve aesthetic professionals. I also serve high trust businesses like lawyers, like solicitors, all of that kind of thing. Each of them has their own landing page. Fundamentally, it's the same product that I'm offering, but the way I frame it is different because all of their pain points and the things that will resonate with them will be different. Okay, so going back to your thing here, there's no kind of call out to the audience. There's no statement of what you do or how you help. So it could be as basic as, are you a XYZ audience? Are you a thing struggling with this? We're here to help. Personal HQ, your private AI coaching space built by really. The trouble with this, Barry, is it's about you. If I go here, I want to know that you can solve a problem, my problem. Okay. This is how I would categorize this as being very you centric. Real counselors, that's great. But I don't know what problem are you solving specifically for what user group and what will the transformation be? Again, pick a prompt, sign in and start chatting to see what personal HQ feels like. Okay, I get a temporary mess. This isn't really, and again, please don't take this as me having a massive pop at you. I'm being blunt, but because I want you to, this needs to be this will not be attracting attention in the right way, and you will not be getting the traction that you want or deserve. Okay, because you're not naming, as Aaron says, you're not talking about or to a specific problem that your audience has. Also, if you need to do 3 or 4 landing pages for particular groups, do that. The one thing that I find, it happens still quite a lot, is when you have a chat with people about, so who do you help in your business, and they go, oh, help everyone. No, you don't. Because if you market in a general way, you won't actually be attracting anyone, because as someone said before, you need to be really specific about who you help, why you help them, the pain points that you can help with, and what does the transformation you offer. So your AI support or real counselors, what does that transformation look like? So you want to be talking to your audience going, you are here now, and in an hour or whatever it is, or over a course of 3 sessions, you could be here. Okay. That's the kind of thing you want to be doing. And this is the kind of information that you want to be using in AI to then create really strong hooks, your own version of something like this. Stop waiting to feel ready. Let's get your first authority video published this week. Okay. And the thing is with a hook, and particularly when you're talking about headlines and all that kind of caper, you're not trying to appeal to everyone. You're trying to appeal to a very select group of people that you want to serve with this particular, in this case, landing page. Same with an email. You don't want it to try and appeal to everyone, because it won't. Trying to appeal to everyone means you appeal to no one. So, you need to really be focused on, who is it I want to serve? And if you're early on in your business journey, that is a commercial decision. You've got to go, okay, who are the low hanging fruit for this particular product? And it doesn't matter if you get some of those people and other people join in. That's not a problem. But it might be a case that you don't need to actively market to all of those people. You need to niche down on who you're talking to and be very clear about that. Because, as I say, everything you then talk about on your landing page needs to be specific to that audience group. Okay. Because, like I say, once they start reading, you're re-hooking them halfway. So you've got the hook up there, and then there'll be other moments where, why this video is still sitting in your to-do list. Oh, okay. I don't know why that is. Boom. There you go. And you're rehooking them in, you're telling them, in this case, that's all about empathy and saying, I understand your problem. But like I say, it all begins with a really strong hook. Let me go back to the slides for a second. Yeah. So it's a really powerful lesson it's the difference between no one really paying any attention to a landing page or an email, and actually people looking and going deeper, scrolling down the page, or visiting more than one page, or phoning you up. It's the difference between someone looking at it for a second and bouncing and going, I don't know who this is for. I don't know what problem this is solving. I don't know what I'm getting out of this. I don't even know if this is for me. And then bouncing, and then you're never going to get those guys back. So 47% higher open rates from personalized, curiosity-based subject lines. So that's what we like. 65% of viewers are lost before the content begins when a video fails to hook in the first 3 seconds. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with. And more specifically, what a hook is and what it isn't. So it's not you just going on a video, oh, hi, I'm Jeremy, blah, blah, blah. That's the equivalent a little bit of what we saw on Barry's personal HQ thing. There was a lot about him, or not you specifically, Barry, but about, oh, this is what we built. This is how it works, the mechanics of it. Actually, no one cares at that stage. When someone arrives on an email, or when someone arrives on a landing page, or clicks on a video from a thumbnail, what they want to know straight away is this for me? Can this help me? That's all they care about. They don't care about the 25 counselors that you've got and the fact that it's got AI enhanced and it's on a great platform and blah, blah. They don't care about any of that. They care about, will you be able to help my problem? That's all they care about. So that's why the hook needs to answer that. Aaron's saying, any advice on this hook for my wife's reflexology feet business? Excellent. 6 signs your body needs more time out. I feel it could be better and more captivating. I feel like for sure that could be better, I'm going to make this into a live demo actually, Aaron. Also in the chat, Aaron, why don't you just pop some, if you've got any other hook ideas, because I will show you how I go about brainstorming effectively with AI, and hopefully it will help you and you'll get a little bit of an insight into the kind of the way I go about it. I have a reflex. It's going to go, you don't, because it knows me, but business. I'll say this. I am working with. Is this for a landing? Is this for a lead magnet, Aaron? I'm going to say I want to create a landing page hook for. It's for a reel, but we're looking to create a lead magnet at some stage. Okay, landing page hook. I'll say and a hook for a series of reels. The landing page will lead to a lead magnet. Could you tell me? Okay, fine. Peter's just put one. That's great, actually. Give me some ideas and we'll just go through what will be useful. So, Aaron and Peter, let me know. So, what have you got an idea in terms of lead magnets, what that might be? So, what are the services that your wife is going to offer? What's the things she wants to promote basically with that thing? Hook idea for my companies is Peter introduces horse ownership to companies, enjoy horse racing. Okay, so tell me, Peter, what's the service that you ultimately want them to get involved with? Will lead to a lead magnet. I need some lead magnet ideas first. I need. Actually, what would be good as well, Aaron, should promote reflexology. Oh, okay, brilliant. Okay, that's really useful. Purchase of a racehorse, picking a trainer, all admin done, liaison with trainer. And Peter, sorry, I know I'm doing two things at once. Is this basically just for people? What do they get out of it? Is it basically to save tax, or is it because they love racehorses? What's the attraction, if you like, of that? There's revitalism, fertility, hook types that people like. Where's McDowell? Not McDonald. So this is always, like I was saying earlier on about modeling, Aaron, this is just the basic flavor Claude. This isn't a posh one. This is the $20 or whatever it is a month one. So let's do that. So give me 5 different hook ideas based on the different hook types that people like Ed Lawrence, Wes McDowell, and Alex Hormozy use. This is much what I was going to say was this is again one of those things when you're creating stuff like this, model things. So like I was saying before, switch your radar on. If you are like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing example of what I want this to end up like, tell it, use it as inspiration. So let's see what it gives us back. But it's great. What I love about what Aaron's saying is we know who we are. We're ready for menopause and fertility. So that is great. And also that's a niche where there'll be an awful lot of emotion attached to it. And so the guys I really rate in terms of YouTube stuff, Ed Lawrence is fantastic. Wes McDowell is also very good. And obviously Hormozy's just everywhere and he's like a bit of a marketing bro. So it'll be interesting to see the different types of results we get off the back of it. So it's gone away and it's what I've got it to do actually. This will be basically a lesson because there are at least 5 different types of hooks. Right, here, look, there we are getting somewhere really interesting now. Okay, so we've started with that one that Aaron came up with, 6 signs your body needs more time out. Yeah, soft and pleasant, but it's not doing much work. It's generic and it's not specifically to do with anything. Okay, again, it's about specificity. You need to also think about being on the end of a search. Okay, so what are your dream clients? What are your people? Who are you? What are your audiences? What are they Googling at 3 a.m. in the morning to solve their problem? Okay, so in this case, it might be, why am I so hot at 3 a.m.? Or why isn't this working? And the number list format is good bones, though. It just needs a sharp and niche specific promise underneath it. So an Ed Lawrence package would be the 20-minute foot session your GP will never mention for hot flushes. Opening a loop immediately. What 20-minute foot session? Why will the GP not mention it? And you're also in that you're also mentioning you're being specific about what it's helping, hot flushes. Why some unexplained infertility cases have nothing to do with your ovaries. So that's a real classic contrarian position. You think this is the case, but it isn't. And this is why. Do you see what I mean? So if you thought blue was blue, but actually it's green and your brain goes, what? Why is that? You want to, and you're immediately your brain's going up. That's not. Why do I? And I want to know more. So that's the curiosity intrigue way of doing it. Okay, with Ed Lawrence's thing. Then you've got the bold authoritative claim. So the real reason your hormones feel out of control in perimenopause and what actually settles them. I think that's okay. For me, I prefer, this might just be a personal thing, but for me, I always prefer curiosity and intrigue rather than being, I feel that real reason your hormones feel that feels to me a little bit finger waggy, but that might be just me. And again, these hooks, you need to be putting them in and then tracking the results of them. Like I was saying about the landing pages, do 2 or 3 versions of it with different hooks and see what works, because the it's all very well using AI to come up with ideas, but ultimately it's also about making sure you're putting the stuff out there and then checking what the results are. So it's not just fire and forget. You've got to come back to it and go, how I've got an A and B test. I've got 2 versions of the same landing page, same offer, blah, blah, blah. The only thing that's different is the hook, 2 different hooks. It's a little bit like on YouTube at the moment. You can do A/B testing on titles, which is a very good idea. Why wouldn't you test different titles and see what goes best? The Alex Hormozy specific outcome. So calm, hot flashes, night sweats, and brain fog in 6 sessions. No hormones, no guesswork, even if nothing else has worked. Again, I quite like that because it's got the kind of what the result is that you're going to get from it. It's how do you get to the desired goal without this particular pain? Okay, how to solve the pain point without annoying thing that may be reasons why you wouldn't try to help yourself in the first place. Does that make sense? So support your body for conception in 12 weeks, even if you've been trying for years. Yeah, I don't love that. Problem agitate. This is really good. This is a classic one. Problem agitate solution. Okay. Exhausted, foggy, and told it's just your age. Here's what your body is actually asking for. That, I think, is a very strong contender for me, I would say. Yes, I do feel that. I feel that. And immediately you're going, oh my God, they really understand where I'm at. Because this is the whole thing with a hook like this. It's you are immediately illustrating the fact that you understand where your audience is in that moment. And then the fact that you then go on to here's what your body is actually asking for, you're positioning yourself in that moment as a guide. 2 years of trying, a drawer full of tests and no answers. Again, that what I love about that is it's painting a very vivid scene. You can see yourself in that moment. 2 years of trying, a drawer full of tests and no answers. There's a piece nobody's checked. What? I immediately want to know. That's open the loop, that one. But what I love is the first section of that hook is painting a really vivid moment in someone's life. Now, obviously, that is very specific. Some people are going to go, no, I've not tried at all. In which case, guess what? This isn't for you. But you've done them a favor because you've gone, this thing isn't for you. So off you go and find something else to do. But for the people who are having issues conceiving and all of that they can identify with that moment, they are in because it's such a vivid bit of scene painting. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's a really strong one. 5 signs your hormones are quietly rather asking for help before they start shouting. So you can see there, right? Just off one moment, spending a few minutes with AI, you've got, I would say, probably 5 or 6 really strong contenders there. Some that aren't as good, but again, this is why it's not about, oh, AI's told me all of those are great. Some of them are better than others, and some of them land with me as a human than others do. So always check in with what AI gives you because you're the human in the loop, right? So, and if I quite like this little bit here, but I want it to end with this, then tell it to do that. Use this as a starting point for your conversation. And then for the real series hook, since the series needs a repeatable format rather than a one-off line, what your feet are telling you. See, that's a great idea. I love that. What your feet are telling you. And that is a series of little snippets about what your feet tell you about your health. based on reflexology. I would unsteal that, Aaron, and get your wife to be doing a series all around that. Yeah, because I think that's really compelling. It's a great series title. Very quickly, because I asked it about lead magnets, the 5 minute hot flush reset, the foot map for fertility, the menopause system decoder. Some of these sound a bit marketing-y, that one does. 7 day cycle reset, is stress body. You know what? None of these really. They all sound a bit boy-y to me as well. I think they need more, it needs to feel more female. It feels a little bit sort of marketing stuff to me, all this. It sounds a bit, yeah, I'm not sure about those. But again, I would be working on those. Let's go to Peter and your situation. So where was your thing? Good. I'm glad it was helpful. Peter Gray, Pete working with let's put Peter's stuff in here. Hopefully you guys are getting the sense that as well, the more context you give the AI and the longer you spend, giving it context, the better results you'll get. It is absolutely, this is for people that, let's see what we get from this. I would like a compelling landing page and then compelling video hooks for an intro video that will sit or that will be embedded on the landing page. I'm just doing this for us, so it tells you the type of hook and then gives you all this business. Let's see what this comes up with. Ah, excellent. First past the post. I like that. It's nice. Yes. Immediately it's saying, so you are probably you've got to be careful about compliance if you're saying anything to do with tax. I'm imagining that you already know what you can and can't claim in terms of tax specifics. Okay, so these are the sort of generic types of hooks. You've got the qualifying question hook. Are you struggling with this without, and who wants to achieve goal? In this case, this is do you love the racing, run a successful business, ready to own a piece of it tax efficiently? I think you go love horse racing rather than love the racing. I think that's a bit odd. So definitely that would need a little bit of work with it. Run a successful business is, are you ready to own it? Yeah. Are you a horse racing fanatic? I think would be one of the, again, you want to colour it up a bit, I would say. Otherwise it's a little bit beige. You want to get that sense of people who are absolutely passionate about horse racing. Then you got the curiosity intrigue hook, which is this is great. The asset class most accountants never bring up with business owners, and it runs at Ascot. Eh? What does that mean? Again, probably, yeah, love number two. Yes, because it's just odd, isn't it? It's slightly random in a nice way. I think that could be do with being tightened up a bit, but I love the it runs at Ascot bit. You could say the four-legged asset class that accountants never bring up, and it runs at Ascot. Do you know what I mean? To make it even more odd, something like that. And then you've got the bold claim: own a racehorse, let your company absorb the cost. We handle the trainer, the admin, everything. That's really good. I like that. Again, do you see what I mean? They give a slightly different feel to the landing page or whatever. And again, it's one of those things. It's what do you feel like will chime with your audience? See, in Peter's case, you deal with these people, you work with them. So are they more likely to resonate with the fact that I can a horse and write it off against tax? So is it more about the tax thing or is it more about the horse thing? So do you lean into more of the passionate about horse racing angle, or is it more on the whole kind of tax efficiency angle? But again, you'll know that because you work with these people all the time. And then you've got the identity status hook. You built the business to live life on your terms. Time to stand in the winner's enclosure, not just watch from the stands. I quite like that. I prefer 100% Aaron saying could split test that, and I absolutely would. I think, to be honest, the identity status thing that it's given you there, the builder's business to live life on your terms, I just feel that's too woolly. It's too vague. Because again, time to stand, when I like what it's done, it's gone horse, winner's enclosure. You know what, though? Sometimes I just think you need to be really specific, and that makes it more powerful. I'm quite liking this number 5 though. Owner share in a racehorse, trained by proven yards, fully managed for you at a fraction of the personal cost, structured through your company. Again, that's, yeah, I quite like that. It's a little more kind of on the nose. I quite like it actually. But there again, look, just off the back of that, there's two or three that I think are really strong. And as Aaron says, we could definitely split test those. Definitely split test those. And in terms of the video intro hooks, so this is the video, this is what you open with when you've got your video that's on your landing page. I love this. See, this is the thing. Provocative question. Love it. And there's some really good ones here. What if owning a racehorse cost you less than your last client dinner? Yes, I'm interested. Yeah, amazing. Most business owners think racehorse ownership is just a rich man's hobby. Actually, it's one of the most overlooked assets in your company. Myth busting is a really good thing to do. So I'm working with a lot of aesthetic practitioners, and a myth busting thing is a really good headline type or a hook type for them, because lots of people, it works well when people have preconceived ideas about the niche that you're in. Okay. And obviously aesthetics like Botox and all of that kind of stuff, people have a lot of very set up, really set in stone preconceived ideas of what it's about and the kind of people that would use that. So that's why we use a lot of myth busting pattern interrupts, because it's all about going, you think this, but actually this is the truth. And then if you've ever watched the Gold Cup and thought that could be me in the enclosure, this is for you. That's great. Like that. Again, you've got that thing again, like we saw in the one before. You're painting a really vivid moment, a really vivid scenario. You see yourself in that moment, and that's what you want to be doing. You want to be specific. You want people to put themselves in that moment, because then they're much more likely to engage in the content that comes after it. You can afford it. This is the problem agitate solution one. You can afford it. You love the sport. So what's actually stopping you? Probably the admin, the guesswork, the hassle. We remove all three. Yeah, again, it's okay, that one. I think the other two are stronger before. I like the direct identity one. I think that's really evocative. And this is a good thing to think about as well. Case studies. Meet a business owner exactly like you. 6 months ago, he'd never owned a horse. Today, he's got a share in one running under his company, and it costs him less than he expected. Case study, things that are related. So another example of that could be Jeff ran a business and turned over X pounds last year, and then he changed this and worked with us, and we 3x'd his income just by using this piece of software. Do you see what I mean? Those kind of things. Again, when you're specific with, you're leading with results in that case. If you have results from clients, 100% you should be using them in your hooks, because it's demonstrating that it's demonstrating the transformation that you are saying that you can get people. So out of all of this, the ultimate ones hooks wise that will work are when you're actually talking about a scenario that you were in, that you helped someone go from X pounds to X pounds or whatever it was that. So Aaron's saying, I was watching some American guy on Facebook saying that TikTok is the only platform that doesn't penalize you for posting the same content multiple times. He said to post a reel with 3 different hooks at the same time and wait 24 hours to see which one performs best and post that one to Instagram. To be completely honest, TikTok and Insta are not my areas of expertise. I'd give it a go and see what happens. The thing with Instagram and TikTok is that you put content on there and it's gone within minutes. So you're having to feed the machine. This is a whole discussion, and I know we're nearly at the top of the hour, so I'm going to let you go in a minute. But there's a whole discussion to be had. If you are creating content, and this is why I'm really pro, maybe it's not a surprise given I do video, I'm very pro you. I'm more, if I'm putting effort into creating content, and I suggest that you should really, whatever you're doing, even if it's for Insta and you're doing shorts and stuff, you still need to think about the content and the value that you're giving your audience. Otherwise, they're just going to drift off. And so the way I would do that is to create longer form videos on YouTube, because it's evergreen, and then do stuff, cut shorts from a longer form video would be my thing, because then at least even after Instagram it's gone and it's no longer on people's feeds or whatever, you've still got something that you made from in that session that can sit on YouTube. And also bear in mind with YouTube, it's the second largest, owned by Google, and it's the second largest search engine. So it's worth thinking about that. However, like I say, I'm not an expert in Instagram or TikTok. If people are able to be making content on a sustainable level without burning themselves out on either of those platforms, and you can make it work for you, then I would go for it. I would go for it. Oh, Kevin's saying my IP is never converted, but I think no one's interested, but I would appreciate your quick thoughts. Let's just have a look. Literally got 2 minutes. So let me just share this and we'll end on this little turn voice notes into structured digital assets with AI. Okay, who's this for? Is my first question. What are structured digital assets? Is word salad. Yeah, see, Kevin, you're saying yes, anyone. So this is the trouble. You're marketing to everyone and actually appealing to no one. Pick a niche and niche down. Think about who would make best use of this. And the way I would brainstorm this is, okay, which kind of niches have lots of meetings where they may not be on a Zoom call, but they may be in a physical meeting and want to turn voice notes into, again, structured digital assets. That's something that's come from AI, I think. Stop collecting notes, usable assets. Again, tell me, it would be more interesting, I think, or reports or whatever it is. Yeah, the trouble is, Kevin, being completely blunt, I can tell that this was done by AI. So you need to spend more time thinking about, and when I say go niche, I'm talking about property lawyers or real estate agents who are having a meeting with someone and then they do a proposal to that person about how they're going to sell their house. That's what I'm talking about, because then you can go to that niche audience, turn a meeting into a polished proposal document within 5 minutes. Do you see what I mean? Because then you're actually solving a problem that those people will have. But this kind of turn voice notes into structured digital assets, I'm not feeling anything. It's also, I'm trying to work out, my mind's going, what are structured digital assets? What does that even mean? And the thing is, you confuse, you lose. It feels to me like you need to do, yeah, 100% is too wide. You need to really think about that product, what it can do. I would make it more. I won't mind guessing that you've gone to vibe code something basically, and you've got this thing that you're wanting to sell to people. Make it very specific to a specific situation that a specific set of people are in. And going back to the estate agent or a real estate kind of example, it's in their interest to save them time, because if they save time, that they can then have 3 meetings in the time before they'd have only been able to have 1 meeting. And your little widget that you do that turns the voice notes into a proposal. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It needs to be more, you need to think longer and harder about your product and who it's for and this and how it actually helps people. Ultimately, are you solving a problem? Like you said in the original thing, is this actually a problem that people have? Yeah. I hope that's helped. Good that you've done something, but again, yeah, if you once you are zeroed in on a very tight user group in a very tight kind of situation, you can then paint a much more compelling picture. So, like I say, in the case of the real estate agent, let's just go with that for a second. This will allow you to 2x the amount of closes you can do, something like that, because you want to talk about the result it gives them. I can double my commission rates. How can I do that? Because actually we're saving you time earlier on in the process by turning voice notes into PDF proposals that you will have taken 2 hours to do, and actually this little set of widgets will do that for you and create a really professional report that you can, or proposal that you can send to your potential clients. Yeah, 100%. Kevin, you're on yeah, you absolutely, everything begins and ends with really understanding your customers. If you are not in their heads, if you're not walking around in their shoes, you need to be, and you need to go back and rethink what you're doing. Okay. I know that's brutal to say that, but rather than wasting your time making landing pages, launching them, and then finding no one's interested, make sure that you really understand who it is you're solving solving problems for, and get into their heads. Okay, I'm glad, Kevin, brilliant. I'm so glad that's helped you out. Listen, we've run a little bit over. I hope you found that useful. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very shortly somewhere else in the Internet Business School world. Take care. Bye bye.